Hello, my name is Steve Andrews. I'm the Associate Director for Leadership at Eastern North Arts NHS Trust. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a tool we developed in 2020 to help support staff during the coronavirus outbreak. At the start of the outbreak, the senior leadership of the organisation were clear that they wanted to put together a package of interventions to help and support staff during the outbreak. So several of us from across the organisation, from different teams, professions and expertise, came together to form the How Are You Doing team. One of the things that connected us was we all believed in something. We believed in a particular approach to people. We believed in coaching and we believed in compassion, and we believed in some collective responsibility and action for what was about to happen. And with those beliefs in mind, we stepped into the arena and supported our staff. We had the backup of two papers, one from the King's Fund on why compassionate leadership mattered, and another from the British Psychological Society on the needs of healthcare staff during the crisis. But also several phone calls, and one with a psychologist from the British Army was really important to us. So the tools and techniques we developed had principles behind them. Visible leadership, which was more than just showing your face, it was actions, seeing leadership as a doing thing, making sure people's values, opinions were valued, making sure we acted on those issues. We rewarded them with praise, thanks, but also taking care of some of the basics. Created a climate of autonomy so people could act, and trusted them. When you have good people in your team, get out of their way and trust them to get on with stuff. So we designed the 5 questions, and the 5 questions were constructed from all that evidence. And the aim was very clear. How can I clarify information and understanding for people? And how can I reduce anxiety? And do that by creating a psychologically safe environment. The 5 questions, when you look at them, of course, are quite straightforward, and you've probably used them in individual or collective actions yourself. But there is some significant background to them. So let's go through. How are you doing? Well, this has replaced hello in a lot of conversations. How are you doing? I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm fine. 2 seconds and it's over. We know that actually you need an engaged period of time. A couple of minutes of a conversation is a psychological intervention which might matter some days. How is your team doing? Well, here, this is really important. This now says to the individual, you're not on your own. You're part of a team. There's a collective action going on here. But also it says, talk to me about the team. Use third-party language. And third-party language might be a safe place for that individual to actually share what's going on for them. How are you doing? I'm fine. How's the team doing? Well, I am fine, but the team are anxious about PPE. They're worried about the future, etc. The third question, how are your colleagues doing? Well, now we want to be looking a bit bigger. We want to be looking outside of the context of team. Organisations, and especially healthcare organisations, function as a network team of teams. It's the medical team, the nursing team, the administrative team, the cleaning team, the catering team. All those teams contribute. So how are your colleagues doing is a bigger question. It's a collaborative question. What do you know about the rest of the organisation? How's it getting on? The fourth question, what can you do to help them? Here, this is your coaching moment. This is where coaching as your leadership style really comes to the fore. You want to help them. You don't want to take more responsibility and control away from them by fixing things for them that they can fix themselves. So what can you do to help the team and your colleagues that you've talked about? Is there anything you can do that can improve the things for them? What can you do? And that expand this moment into many other coaching questions. It's the way you get to a coaching position in that relationship. The final question of the 5 is, what can we do to help you, or what can I do to help you? So here you've listened, you've been attentive to the needs of the individual or the team. You've tried to coach and encourage some collective responsibility, some autonomy. They've agreed to some actions that they're going to take. But the final bit is to say, I listened to you. I heard what you said. What can I do to help you? How do I serve you? Of course, once you're now familiar with how the 5 questions work, the first question is the engaging question. How are you doing? With a trusting relationship, people will tell you, of course, but you want to get on to the other 2 questions where you listen. Then into the 4th question, which is a coaching question, and the 5th question, which is a serving question. But once you're familiar with that pattern, you don't have to stick to that language of those 5. Use language which is much more personalized to you and that situation. Be aware of the context you're in. Use a wide range of questions, but stick to those principles. How are you doing? A genuine care and concern and compassion. How are the team doing? Some collective action, responsibility and engagement. You're not alone. How are your colleagues doing? Collaborative engagement now, outside of your small team. What can I do to help you? How do you coach people? And then finally, what can I do to help you? Leadership as a serving purpose. So, what style of leadership is this? If this is a leadership tool, which model, theory, idea, framework, assessment does it match? Well, I suspect, like most of the leadership you're engaged in, it crosses many of these models. So here is the way that we see the tool working. How are you doing? Is your compassionate leadership in action? You genuinely and authentically care about people. How is the team doing? It's a collective piece here. Well, success comes from the collective action of the team. How are your colleagues doing? Well, here now we want to collaborate. We don't have power over other teams. We don't have hierarchical responsibility, but a good relationship with the other teams within our organization is what gets things done. A good relationship with our partners outside of the organization is how things get done. What can you do to help them? Well, here's your coaching style in play. Coach people to deliver, coach the team to get things done. And what can we do to help you? This is you as a servant leader. You want to serve your team, your people and the individuals you care for. So in conclusion, the 5 questions aren't a one-off toe in the water. This is a regular rhythm. And I said earlier that it was some statements from the British Army, the psychologist at the British Army that mattered hugely to me. And he said something about preparing people for tours of duty. And he said the leaders and the officers, they prepare them for a battle rhythm. And that rhythm is taking care of their team, taking care of their people. We'd often talked within our organisation of a leadership rhythm, so the minute he said battle rhythm, it seemed to fall into place. Leadership is a rhythm, so taking care of your people is a rhythm. So the 5 questions, use them regular, use them rhythmically, and be honest and upfront with people, but try and help in the best way you can. So when you become familiar with the process, then personalize it, of course. Make it a regular rhythmic activity. Use these 5 questions to establish some real connections, which are much more better than brief exchanges. They start to create some really healthy interpersonal exchanges. Focus on them, not you, and coach them, don't command them. Show that you care, be compassionate, and acknowledge that when you use the 5 questions, this is your leadership in action. This is leadership as a doing thing. I've sent copies of this presentation with all the detail, which we skipped over quite quickly to keep us on track of time. There's links here to more videos, more papers, and always, please, if you want any further information on 5 questions, if you want a copy of the paperwork, if you want a copy of 5 questions that you can then use and print out, please do not hesitate to contact me on the email address there. So thank you very much for your time, and it's open to questions now. Thank you.